Because arthritis is a joint condition, we want to make sure that we are not stressing those joints anymore. So doing moderate activity that is a low shock or a low impact will help a lot. So just basic walking. You could also do swimming or water aerobics or riding a bike. Those are all really good low-impact activities to help us be more physically active. It's recommended we get 150 minutes of physical activity every week, and walking is a great way to do that. So getting that 150 minutes of physical activity every week is a great way to help us maintain our health and improve our arthritis symptoms.
As part of its 2023 annual lesson series, K-State Research and Extension Family and Consumer Sciences specialists and agents have developed several men's health guide fact sheets, including early detection and prevention of cancer specific to men, osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease, and arthritis. On today's Sound Living, defending against 4 major types of arthritis. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wickman. According to the CDC, nearly 20% of men of all ages had doctor-diagnosed arthritis in the U.S. from 2013 to 2015. Undiagnosed arthritis is thought to be much higher. K-State Research and Extension Family and Consumer Sciences Agent for Nutrition, Food Safety, and Health in the Wildcat Extension District, Holly Miner, has authored the Men's Health Guide fact sheet, Arthritis, 4 Common Conditions. It contains a description of the 4 major types of arthritis, risk factors, diagnosis, and a healthy dietary pattern to help prevent or lessen the risk of some types of arthritis. Holly, for this Men's Health Guide, Arthritis, 4 Common Conditions, it was a little bit surprising to me to find out that there really are 4 common conditions because I just kind of thought of arthritis as arthritis.
Yeah, there are actually over 150 different kinds of arthritis, but we're going to focus just on these 4. They're the most common types of arthritis.
And we're looking at osteoarthritis, gout, fibromyalgia, and rheumatoid arthritis. And let's just start with osteoarthritis. What's most common about that?
Well, it is actually the most common form of arthritis, and it's also called a degenerative joint disease. So it's probably the one that most people, when you think about arthritis, this is the type of arthritis that we think about. It occurs in the hands, the hips, the knees, and it's usually caused by extensive wear and tear on the joints.
So this might be kind of a repetitive action?
Right. So, when we're younger, we do all sorts of things because we're invincible. And as we age, those things catch up with our body. And so, just that extensive wear and tear on it. So throughout time, it gets worse as we age.
And gout is something that I guess is very common among men.
Yes, it's actually more common among men than it is among women. It's an inflammatory arthritis. It's also very painful. It usually affects one joint at a time, and that joint that we think of most often when we think about gout is the big toe.
Fibromyalgia is not quite as common, but it is, I guess, more common with women than men.
That's correct. Women are diagnosed with this more. Fibromyalgia is a condition that causes a lot of chronic pain. It causes people that have it to not be able to sleep very good. They have fatigue problems. They also have a lot of emotional and mental stress because they can't do the things that they normally are able to do. It's a very painful condition to have.
Yeah, this is one of those that is really hard to treat, too.
Right. Fibromyalgia usually only affects about 2% of the adult population. So while it isn't a very nice condition to have, it doesn't affect a lot of people, which is a good thing. And
rheumatoid arthritis, is that more autoimmune?
It is. It's an autoimmune and an inflammatory disease. It attacks the healthy cells by mistake, so it causes that inflammation, and the lining of the joint becomes inflamed. And it can, in turn, if it's not treated right away, it can, in turn, cause long-lasting and chronic pain, steadiness, and deformity in the joints.
And this can actually spread, is that right?
It can. It can spread to other tissues in the body and cause problems in your organs, such as your lungs, your heart, and your eyes. It's really important when you have any kind of a swelling in your joint that you are treated for that right away, because if it is rheumatoid arthritis, the earlier the treatment, the less likelihood that will spread or become a larger problem.
One of the things that we're trying to do through this Men's Health Guide series is really alert men to things that maybe they can catch early on, and this is something that does show some risk factors?
It is. There are a lot of different things that we think about when we think about arthritis. It's usually, like I said earlier, a cause of overuse or repetitive stress on a joint. It also increases as we age, which makes sense if the more we use our joints, the older we become. And women are more likely to develop osteo or rheumatoid arthritis or fibromyalgia, and men are more likely to develop the gout. Being overweight puts a lot of stress on our joints and our hips and our knees and those weight-bearing joints. So it's important to eat a healthy diet, and just losing 10 pounds can make a huge difference. People that have family members that have had arthritis or been diagnosed with arthritis are more likely to develop any of the arthritises. And then osteoarthritis is actually lower for some Asian populations. So there's a benefit there if you are an Asian descent.
In terms of diagnosing arthritis, how is that done?
Well, we like to refer people to their healthcare professional. They should seek out their healthcare professional, their family physician. There's a physical examination that's done. We can look at x-rays and lab tests, and each form has a little bit different process, so it's important to communicate with your healthcare professional what kind of symptoms you might be having, and then they can help identify what tests are going to best help you identify what it is that is bothering you and how to treat that.
I guess along those same lines, we're also then learning how to develop some strategies for managing arthritis?
Right. So there's some things that we can do even before we have arthritis that are good for our bodies as well. Two of those are physical activity and eating healthy. And we really want to focus on those things. Weight reduction can also help with arthritis, and it also is good for us, even if we are healthy. Those three things right there can make a huge difference. When we're looking at arthritis, we can also treat that with medication, possibly surgery, and other therapies. So, again, talking with your healthcare professional, make sure that you are communicating with them what's bothering you and figuring out a plan to manage that.
You had mentioned losing just 10 to 12 pounds could make a huge difference. So how can we kind of do that? How can we modify our lifestyle? What are some things that we really should be focusing on?
Well, because arthritis is a joint condition, we want to make sure that we are not stressing those joints anymore. So doing moderate activity that is a low shock or a low impact will help a lot. So just basic walking. You could also do swimming or water aerobics or riding a bike. Those are all really good low-impact activities to help us be more physically active. We want to start out very slow. A marathon wasn't trained for in a day. So, start slow, walk a block, walk 2 blocks, maybe the next day double that, and just slowly work up to where you're walking longer amounts of time. It's recommended we get 150 minutes of physical activity every week, and walking is a great way to do that. So getting that 150 minutes of physical activity every week is a great way to help us maintain our health and improve our arthritis symptoms.
Yeah, there's some other benefits as well, just from the fact that when you're getting a little bit more exercise, you may find that you've got less stress, you're going to sleep better at night, so a lot of other benefits as well.
That's right. It helps keep our bones strong, it improves our sleep, it helps us have weight control. Walking also improves our balance, and it impacts your overall quality of life.
We're also looking at then the number of calories that we take in. We'll probably want to keep an eye on some of the things that we're choosing as our diet.
That's correct. So when we think about what we're eating, we want to think about how many calories we're taking in, and then balancing our physical activity with those calories that we take in. If we're trying to lose weight, then we want to have more physical activity than we do calorie intake. And by losing just 10 pounds in a year would reduce the amount of stress on our joints by, it's a 40-pound load weight or exertion weight. So just by reducing 10 pounds of our body weight is really making our legs feel like we've lost 40 pounds when they're being exerted.
When we're choosing that healthy diet, we're kind of looking at nutrient-dense foods. Is that one of the areas we focus on?
Yes, we should do that whether we have health problems or not. To stay healthy, we want to choose a diet that has a lot of variety in our vegetables, dark greens, all of the different colors, the orange, red. We want to choose peas and beans and lentils, starchy and other vegetables. So making sure that we're eating a good variety of vegetables. We want to select fruits that are whole, frozen or canned fruits should be packed in juice or water and not syrup. And when we look at our grains, we want to choose grains that are mostly whole grains. So at least half of the grains that we eat, or the bread products that we eat, should be a whole grain bread or a whole grain food. Fat-free or low-fat milk, yogurt, and cheese will help us in the dairy group. And then our protein foods should include lean meats, poultry, and eggs, seafood. And then we can also have protein alternatives such as beans, peas, lentils, nuts, seeds. Dairy products are also a protein, and soy products. We want to limit the amount of saturated fats by selecting oils that are unsaturated or they're in the liquid stage. So those would be things like olive oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. The fats that are found in seafood are great sources of unsaturated fats, and then avocados and nuts are good sources of healthy fats as well.
I know we also want to watch the sodium that we're taking in.
Right. We want to reduce the amount of sodium in our diet. We should have, at the most in one day, 2,300 milligrams of sodium, which computes to about 1 teaspoon of sodium per day.
That's low.
That is low.
We're going to have to really focus on that, aren't we? We're going to have to kind of maybe look at the labels a little bit and watch how much added salt we throw in just as a habit.
That's right. When I prepare foods, I never add salt to them, and I always add them whenever I sit down at the table. And some people, it's just automatic. They don't even taste their food. They just add the salt to it. So make sure you taste your food before you add any salt. It might not need anything. And the grocery stores are getting a lot better. Manufacturers are getting a lot better about providing low salt or low sodium or no sodium canned foods. And, when we don't have to add sodium to it. So that's a big benefit of canning your own food as well.
We're also starting to see that same trend happen with sugars as well.
Yes, the food label recently changed to include a line that says added sugar, so we know how much sugar is already in the food itself, especially with fruits. It'll have an amount of sugar in there on the label, and then it might say added sugar. Well, that would be if that fruit was in a syrup, then the syrup would be the added sugar. So, reducing the amount of sugars in our food is going to help us with not only weight loss, but it's also going to help us to reduce the risk of developing diabetes in the future.
What about supplements? What's kind of the rule of thumb, I guess, in regard to supplements?
We try to focus on a healthy lifestyle, and when we think about a healthy lifestyle, if we can get the nutrients that we need in the food that we have, that we intake into our body, that's going to be the most readily digestible and the best way to get our nutrients. If your healthcare provider is recommending that you take a supplement, then I would follow those healthcare providers' recommendations.
We've talked in the past about the fact that men are somewhat reluctant to go see their family physician. Again, this is one of those areas where when you do go see your physician and they have you fill out the little form, if you are having some stiffness in your joints and things like that, make sure that you make a note of that, right? Let them know what you're experiencing.
Right. We want to be honest when you go to the doctor. They're there to help us. And if you have a list of questions that you have when you go to the doctor and you give that to the doctor when you first walk in, then they can sort through those things and they can pick out the things that are the most important if they don't have time to talk about all of them. Just being very honest with your healthcare provider. They're there working for you to help you live a better life, and we need to take advantage of that and not be embarrassed or feel shy about asking them questions or letting them know the things that are bothering us.
And this publication really has a lot of information on ways that you can not only help with the arthritis side of this, but really just your overall health. All of these recommendations play into just a better quality of life. Yeah,
they really do. If you create and stick with just a few healthier habits, it will give you benefits to better manage and relieve your arthritis symptoms, as well as just live a healthy life.
That's K-State Research and Extension Family and Consumer Sciences Agent for Nutrition, Food Safety, and Health in the Wildcat Extension District, Holly Miner. The Men's Health Guide Fact Sheet, Arthritis 4 Common Conditions, is available online from the K-State Research and Extension Bookstore at www.bookstore.ksre.ksu.edu or by contacting your local county or district extension office. Sound Living is a weekly public affairs program produced by Research and Extension at Kansas State University. I'm Jeff Wickman, and this is the K-State Radio Network.